I'm sorry. I have a bit of my Twitch energy left in me where, like, again, I was bragging to one of my friends and everything about Mod's Pizza and everything. And before I forgot to mention I ordered a pizza. I was like, I got a customizable 11-incher coming by. And they're like, what? And I was like, ah, shit. And I was like, I should have worded that a lot better. Now they're just going to
James is gonna get
fucking
11 inches later today.
customize too. Hello, guys. Welcome to Sim Alley Encore. It is me, James Howe, along with our co-host here, Chris Cup. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great.
Uh,
Feeling awesome.
yeah.
Halloween and I'm not home.
Well, like, okay, so I was dressed up like the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
I just did not have. I know this is November. This is a November thing, but yet we're recording here and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got the dude's robe. At least I'm house trained.
I'm just a little salty.
I'm salty too because it's all like, man, I finally got this costume and I don't have my long hair no more, so I can't do the Lebowski properly. And then I went and I trimmed
What's
all
that drink
this.
he's always drinking?
The White Russian, yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah,
It's a White Russian.
yeah.
All that is, it's vodka, heavy creamer, and what is it? That coffee liqueur. It's all what that is. You just and there you go.
I remember watching that movie and like seeing him make that drink and
Yeah,
stuff.
he just stirs it all up.
So tasty.
Yeah, and everything. Like, man definitely loves his vodka and everything. But yeah, maybe, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll cover the Big Lebowski, and I'll dress up. Maybe by then I can allow my hair to grow out, and I'll actually properly look like the dude. And you can dress up like Walter. You can just dress up like
a long wig.
That means I gotta invest in a wig, and I have to make sure that shit's being taken care of. That's shit. That's a chore. I don't want.
Buy a crappy Halloween wig.
I don't want to have a crappy. I would much rather
year.
just have just hair that doesn't want to cooperate with me anymore. I would much rather have that than have a crappy wig. Because at least
Unless
this
you're, like,
I can
shaving and like going bald in the future. Like, I don't see the reason to invest.
Oh my god. I'm not gonna go that fucking far when it comes to it's like, oh, I'm gonna be wearing wigs and fucking toupees. Yeah, no, I'm not going that fucking far.
Yeah, no, if I go bald, I'm going bald. I ain't gonna try to hold on to hair.
Go bald and go proud, like the boys. I'm sorry, I have a bit of my Twitch energy left in me where, like, again, I was bragging to one of my friends and everything about Mod's Pizza and everything, and before I forgot to mention I ordered a pizza. I was like, I got a customizable 11-incher coming by, and they're like, what? And I was like, ah, shit. And I was like, I should have worded that a lot better. Now they're just gonna
James is gonna get 11 inches later today.
Customize too, like,
Get
but
a little bling on.
But yeah, we're still kind of bit in the Halloween spirit, and I still in a very weird spirit that my Twitch community put me in. But we're here to celebrate. But I guess what we're carrying for November is going to be a murder mystery month. We're covering Glass Onion. So beginning of the month, we covered Knives Out, probably one of the best murder mysteries out there. That is not for one an Agatha Christie story. It's a very original one done by Ryan Johnson, which, I guess after all these years and some of the stuff Ryan Johnson has put out, I guess I cannot completely shit on him like I did in our previously recorded episode with Knives Out. Because, again, we recorded that last year, right when Glass Onion was getting ready to come out. And I was just hating on the guy. And it's because it's like, you ruined Star Wars. And in all honesty, J.J. Abrams ruined Star Wars to me. Because J.J. Abrams should have fucking stuck around.
Star Wars.
Oh,
Kathleen Kennedy.
She had her dick in the fucking pot too. So, like, let's just we'll put it there. It's, to me, J.J. Abrams should have stuck all the way through. Yes, Kathleen Kennedy is to blame as well, but also too, no one else at Disney is doing it any better. Jon Favreau is doing decent with The Mandalorian. I still need to see that third season. I still haven't seen it yet. I'm slowly catching up on stuff because I just now started to, like, I'm on the last season of Haven for the Twitch series, that I'm doing on Twitch where we just cover that. And I know in January
That's
I'm gonna start.
Sci-Fi show, right?
Yeah,
that was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, it's believe it or not, I remember season 3 being so amazing and season 4 being a dud, and then this past watching of it, I was like, oh god, season 3 was a dud and season 4 was awesome. I was like,
that was like, I remember that show being released like in the like, it was like a renaissance for the Sci-Fi Channel. It was like Battlestar Galactica. You had Eureka.
That came after
Warehouse 13.
It all came after that, because by the time that Haven, I think, was halfway through its run, Warehouse 13 and Eureka had just ended. Battlestar Galactica was already done. Haven was like the last really great show that they had. And then, if I remember correctly, they split season 5 into 2 seasons. Like a part 1, part 2. And they were like, oh, we'll just do a full 26 episode end. And it's all like, you can't do that. Like, your seasons were already kind of stretched to like an ungodly amount for what story you had for 13 episodes. And there were like even some, it's like, you could have went without that. You could have went, you guys could have did this 10 episode season. But, you know, as a screenwriter, it's like, no, write as much as you can to make this last, you know, get that paycheck, you know, get that cheddar.
Yeah.
You know, I don't blame them. But at the same time, me looking at this, I was like, I'm more or less spoiled by BBC stuff where, like, you know, it's less episodes, but obviously those episodes are like almost an hour to an hour and a half. So I've been spoiled by the BBC system of storytelling, which I enjoy that for television. I got to get back into watching Luther. That's another good one. But anyway, on the dot, we got Glass Onion, which is, believe it or not, I had so much of a gripe the first time I watched this. I love Knives Out so much. And I knew people were praising Glass Onion, and I was like, you guys are so full of shit. I was like, this was not nearly as good as Knives Out. Like, but I understand the subtitle. It's a Knives Out mystery. So it's not Knives Out 2. But, you know...
Yeah, I mean, like, that's why, like, after the first Knives Out was released, Ryan Johnson, I think, took to Twitter, and, like, asked people, like, what should I title the next story? And, because he wanted this to be an Agatha Christie kind of series, where it's an anthology, it's a different mystery, different cast every time, because that's usually how murder mysteries go.
Yeah.
And like you have that with the most recent release of like Haunting in Venice, which is another Hercule Poirot story. And
but they actually try to treat it like a paranormal venture.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but like it's just another adaptation of one of her stories. I think they like switched something around or something and adapted a different book with a different title.
They definitely did, because I read the book for that and I was like, oh, this is so fucking different from what they're doing. Because in the original, which, spoiler warning for this, in the book, the main reason for the child actually dying and being drowned, for quote-unquote saying she saw a murder, she didn't see a murder. But she would constantly lie because she felt her life was so boring. And so she would tell these other stories that other people had told them. And you found out that there was this other child that was like in this little small English village who had saw the murder. And Hercule Poirot kind of started realizing, oh, our victim is a very good liar. And
she cries wolf.
Yeah, she cried wolf way too many fucking damn times. But to me, I was like, oh god, this book is like kind of good. Should have been shorter, because there was some stuff that just dragged on. But when you finally figure it out, and then kind of looking at the trailers for The Haunting in Venice, it's like, okay, well, this is in Venice. This isn't in an English little like town village. And the way how like they're describing it, it's like, yeah, no, this is almost something completely original. But they just took probably some concepts of it's happening on Halloween and all that. So they're just taking general ideas. Like, I have yet to sit there and read Murder on the Orient Express, so I really have no clue how accurate the other Poirot film that Kenneth Branagh has done. There's like, oh, how accurate is this? Like, we all know the story. It's been adapted so many times. That one in Death on the Nile has been adapted so many times. It kind of feels like you don't really need to sit there and read the book. It's like you get the general consensus of what Agatha was trying to tell you. But other than that, like, I was like, watching the trailer after reading the book, I was like, don't like this. Not one bit, you know. But who knows? Maybe they can actually make it better, because I kind of thought that was one of Agatha's weakest murder mysteries was the Halloween Party. Um, but I did like it that apparently she was ballsy enough in her old age. It's like, fuck the children, and like had a child get drowned, and I was like, oh, she was wild. She was wild in those years, but
Yeah.
back to
I
Knives
mean,
Out.
yeah. No, but like, yeah, Ryan Johnson wanted Benoit Blanc to be the Hercule Poirot of,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, his own very own Hercule Poirot to make it his own murder mysteries. Because he's a really big mystery buff, is from what I've read. Uh,
And
but
that seems to
he's
be what
actually
he's
like,
making now, because there's like
yeah,
one. I think it's called Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne, which is essentially
oh,
it's like Murder She Wrote with a murder mystery. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, and I've been enjoying that. Like he's kind of revitalized Natasha Lyonne's career uh,
that's good.
with this. I don't know if it's gotten a second season yet. That's another series I need to catch up on and actually watch. But I've heard nothing but really good things about it. Um,
Yeah,
and it's kind of hard to keep um like a whodunit going or a murder mystery going. Like in horror, you got Scream. That's been a murder whodunit for
yeah.
like what ever since 96, 97.
It's always someone you know.
Yeah. And then you got Only Murders in the Building. I only saw the first two episodes, but I read the script to the first episode before I watched it. I was like, oh my god, how have I not watched this? And then I had an issue
I
with
know my
Hulu.
parents watch it. Yeah,
It's a really,
I
really
do
good
have
one.
Hulu.
Martin
I'll check
Short's
it out.
actually funny. Martin Short is funny. I don't understand the people that go out there and say he's not funny. I was like, he is funny. It's like you just have a shitty
He's a
sense of
legend,
humor.
man.
Yeah. Well, like I
Gotta
think kind of like
respect
looking at it,
one.
he's always been the third man in almost every troop of something like, and that's kind of going all the way back to the Three Amigos. And so I think
Yeah.
when people like just talk down the Martin Short, they just want to be short with short, and it's like it's all like, dude, the guy's fucking funny. You just don't have a sense of humor. Get the fuck off the goddamn
He was the
internet.
guy in the
And
he was the wedding planner in Princess Bride, right? Or the my daughter's wedding, or what's the one with
that I have no clue.
uh
Uh, that
some
one,
movie
that one, I'm drawing a blank because I don't watch too many romantic comedies or anything.
Father of the Bride. I'm
Oh
thinking
god,
of.
it's been forever
Oh,
since I've seen Father of the Bride. So he was. It makes
yeah,
sense because he always worked with Steve Martin whenever he got the
yeah,
chance. Yeah.
that's a great
Uh,
little. Both the movies are great. I love them.
you mean three?
But
Because there's like a part three too. It's like a trilogy if I remember right.
I thought there was only two. There's the first one where his daughter's getting married, and then there's the second one where like his daughter's pregnant and his wife is pregnant. I don't remember a third one though.
I think they're working on the third one then. I remember seeing a part three somewhere. I remember seeing it somewhere. But either way,
I
yeah,
know.
the murder mystery genre, it's not really something you sequelize unless you want to be like Scream and be meta with everything. But
Yeah,
yeah, to make it an
that's their
anthology and
twist.
keep Benoit Blanc as the main character. My thing is, it's you can only tell so many of them with Daniel Craig in mind. So my thing is if we ever do get a sequel, because I actually do think Glass Onion does warrant us. We deserve another like Knives Out murder mystery. What will make you bet that probably whenever Daniel Craig's done with this, they will do the prequels?
I don't think this is the thing Daniel Craig needs to retire from. Honestly, like murder mysteries, like the
That's a
original
bread and
actor
butter
for
thing for a lot of like getting older actors.
yeah, he's just an aging like detective who is really good with his mind, and
Mhm.
he can keep this going as long as he wants. And I mean, I don't see him needing to ever retire from this, or
Mhm.
Brian Johnson ever wanting to recast. But honestly, like
Yeah, but if you do a
I
prequel, you can't CGI Daniel Craig's fucking face, and it's like, look, now he's 20. It's like, oh no, 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 man, that's like
uh,
that special effects ain't gonna save. Ain't making him younger. It's making him look like the Rock from
I
Scorpion King.
I don't think I would ever want like a prequel. You know, you got a good introduction to
Yeah,
him
but
in
wouldn't you also want to
Knives
know
Out.
what LeBlanc's first, like, what was his breakout case that really made him a name? I mean, they've done it to
I
Hercule
mean,
Poirot. They've done it to him too, where like they have done like one story I do believe when he was young, and they talked about like, hey, this was like my big break and everything, if I remember correctly. I'm not
Yeah,
saying milk
I just
every goddamn thing out of it, but like I would actually be very much intrigued to know how he's a retired detective. I really want to sit there and know what was the case that made him a name. And then
I
of
mean,
course
I
when he
think they mentioned
retired,
it, right?
huh?
Like they mentioned a couple cases in the first Knives Out, like, oh, I heard you were behind, you investigated this and broke this case or something.
Yeah, but like,
And
wouldn't it be nice, like, to like actually sit there and see, like, well, how did he do it? Especially being so young. It's like I know that he could not have always had the mind to solve all these cases, and that there had to have been like another teacher to teach him, or something like that, or you know, there's always that thing of learning how the master was as a pupil, and if you do it right, you can always sit there and get a really good reward in. Kind of similar to the Star Wars prequels, which they get a lot of shit, but you know what? It is really nice looking back at it after all these years to sit there and know about Obi-Wan and Anakin, and you kind of realize, you know what? It's like Obi-Wan really had no in way shape. Uh, he didn't really have any stance to be a Jedi Master to train a Padawan, because you know he was kind of like already still in grieving too with the death of Liam Neeson's character Qui-Gon and everything. And then as you kind of sit there and look, it's more of like, I'm a general, I'm not a teacher. And he tried to teach as much as he could to Anakin, but I felt like if Qui-Gon would have taught him, Anakin would never have went over to the dark side. Qui-Gon would have kept
yeah,
him on the path of the Force. Um, and but of course that right there doesn't make the conflict that what you need. You need someone that obviously, oh, he trained him, but like, you know, something fucking happened to him, you know.
I mean, I don't think I personally wouldn't want to see a prequel or like see him being mentored by anyone. Like, I just make a good mystery. And
Yeah.
honestly, the only issue with these last two films, the first two films, are you know exactly who the bad guy is. You know,
Yes.
that's one thing that separates Brian Johnson from Agatha Christie is like with Agatha Christie, you had multiple suspects, and you weren't sure who the murderer was.
Yeah.
So,
She hit
like,
it very well. Ryan's still
yeah,
learning it. Uh,
because like, oh, it's the it's the big bad millionaire. Oh, it's the obvious nephew who was away from the party, the
whose
only one
name
who
is
was. Oh,
Ransom.
yeah, like
Yeah.
who's obviously like, I'm gonna get you, and like
So
it's just he needs to work better on the mysteries and the reveals
yeah.
and just make it much a more impactful twist
Yeah.
because I'm kind of like, I really wish he hadn't done the twin thing in the sequel, you know, I, or done something better with it, you know, maybe like the
Yeah.
twin was evil or like she was really the one behind it. She just kind of wanted to get justice or
So
get the person put away.
jumping in, this movie came out December 23rd, 2022. It stars Daniel Craig, Edward Norton. The twins, as what Chris mentioned, Andy and Helen Brandt, are played by Janelle Monáe, which, believe it or not, she fucking did phenomenal. I actually really loved her. I don't know what the hell
Yeah,
that was. My brain tried to put two words in one. I really loved her. I'm not drunk, folks. This is water. I promise, not vodka. Um,
yeah,
she did like her best, and right next to her, I love Catherine Hahn, who is in there. Plays a politician. She plays it so fucking well.
yeah.
Leslie
Catherine
Odom.
Hahn's really come into her own
Oh
in the
yeah,
past few years.
and you know what's really weird? I like her in the MCU for the character that she played with
Oh yeah,
Agatha Harkness. There we go,
yeah.
Agatha Christie, Agatha Harkness. Yeah, there's a connection. You know, I love the way how she plays her characters. We got Leslie Odom Jr., Kate Hudson, which again, seeing Kate Hudson play a fucking ditzy blonde. Oh my god. Dave
I
Batista,
love seeing Kate Hudson
who
again.
shines in here. Dave Batista shines. And what's funny is he's a Twitch streamer, and it's all like, oh god, I hope I don't wind up like that. You know, selling.
He's a muscle down who's obviously on steroids and shit.
He's not on
It's just
steroids. Like that man, I do believe he earned his fit, because he has like one of those things that it doesn't make his abs look all chisel, and like he has saggy titties and everything. He looks like someone that's obviously of his age that like works out and everything. I think he takes really good care of himself, and it's always the stereotype when it comes to wrestlers that they do steroids. That was only the Ultimate Warrior, and even then, that was cocaine. That was not steroids. Or it was
sure.
probably both.
Yeah.
It was probably both and everything. And But Dave Bautista is Duke Cody, the Twitch streamer who sold rhino pills to little kids and everything. Those are supposed to be Viagra. Jessica Henwick, which again, it's another person for the MCU. Loved her fucking damn role in the Iron Fist when she played. I think she was supposed to play the White Tiger. I think that's who she was supposed to play in there. She pretty much she was the best person in the Iron Fist series, right next to Iron Fist when season 2 came. Because in season 1, she fucking kicked ass. Like, she was out there. And then Madeline Klein as Whiskey. So we have like a mixture of like some very well-known people and some unknowns and everything. And I think that this very much works very well to Ryan Johnson. No.
Oh, Ryan Johnson.
Oh my God. It's the post-Twitch brain, folks. I'm running off of that adrenaline, and it's kind of going, and then I got this adrenaline coming, so it's clashing. I apologize. But yeah, like, Ryan Johnson really has a really good cast for this, and but before we really kind of just dig down on what we don't really hate, I really do have to sit there and point out that I think everyone really kicked their performances in really, really well. For a film that was one of the very few films that actually made reference to COVID being in real life, you know.
I hated that.
I love that, especially whenever Ethan Hawke is like, "Open your mouth." He was like, "What is that? Is that like medication or something?" And like, you pretty much find out like that Edward Norton is so stupid rich that he had already had the cure for COVID. I love it. It was such a shot at, you know, the vaccines and whatever.
I just like, I hate that because one thing, it's mentioned towards the beginning of the film and then it's never really mentioned again. So like, why mention it at all? It's just, I don't know.
It was trying to show some form of like, this is the world that we live in, that even this film got affected by the COVID thing. But like when Ethan Hawke shot him all in the mouth with that serum, it's like, well, yeah, you can kind of throw that out the damn door. It's like, you know, or they could have at least did like a gag. They could have just done like a gag towards the end where, you know, Ethan Hawke apparently died from COVID. That character died from COVID, and then like all of a sudden all of them are like, well, holy shit, we could have this stuff. And then like, you know, maybe at this point it would be like a stupid comedy. You know, you would have Benoit Blanc be like, I should have stayed home. Like, no, I got the fucking vid, and you know.
I thought they should have just left it alone. I think it just dates the film when you do something like that, and you never mention it again, and it's never really like a thing in the film. And I thought it was unnecessary way to start the film opening. Like the puzzle boxes when they're arriving and stuff.
That was fun.
Cool.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And I love how they all solve it, and then Janelle Monáe just takes a fucking hammer to it. I was like, see, I was waiting for the real life like solving. It's like, ain't no one gonna play with this bitch, like, fucking destroy it and everything. But yeah, moving forward into the story past all the COVID stuff. I actually really do think a lot of the setup is done so well. You know, like the whole they have like a brand new fuel that's supposed to be healthier for the environment, but like, you know, if you fuck up just right, you could legit turn your whole house into the Hindenburg. And of course, I love how Catherine Hahn is always, she's so fixated on that. Oh my God, it's the Hindenburg. And it's all like, why are you could have picked so many other things. Like, yeah, okay, the Hindenburg, first time. Yeah, that's laughable because it's a big thing, but, you know, it's a big ass glass onion that is fucking run on this fuel. And there's so much setup to, like, you know, how characters die, or pretty much we all know who the killer is, or, you know, it's an easy setup that it's something that Ryan has to work on, but there is some of this journey though that it's like, oh, this is actually really, really fun. The twin thing, yeah, that kind of feels like a Deus Ex Machina or whatever you would say.
Just kind of like a cop out. Like, I mean,
yeah.
The main antagonist thinks, holy shit, someone has come back from the dead. And honestly, like, if I was that guy, I would think, oh shit, the twin sister's here, because I know I murdered the first girl, so I wouldn't even let her on the island in the first place.
Yeah,
you know, just like,
well, my thing is, it's if he killed her, why the fuck did he send a box?
I forgot.
Yeah,
Why would,
because
I would
Janelle
think,
Monáe
like,
sent the box to Daniel Craig. She sent it to
well,
him.
I thought she contacted him, like after
Yeah,
she
she
got the
contacted
box.
him and she sent him that box
Yeah,
because was it Hugh Grant? It's supposed to be, I think it's yeah, Hugh Grant's supposed to play Blanc's partner or whatever, or I guess it's just like an apartment roommate, and it's
no,
like, oh
I think they're partners.
yeah,
I think
like
they're
the Wicca
lovers.
sit there and says like they're partners, and like I was like I like this, and you know
Uh, Benoit Blanc is gay.
yeah, and
Yeah,
and the thing that I liked was like she shows up with it. So like obviously I think she knew like his contact information, but she went there personally, if I do believe so.
yeah.
I'm running on fog brain here, folks, so I do apologize. But yeah, like the whole traction, there is a lot of things that's like, why that? Why this? Why that? Overall, if you turn your freaking brain off to like all the very small consistencies that over time really kind of make it a big inconsistency, this isn't a bad murder mystery, but there are so many things that get planned out that it's like, oh, and then like well, I guess we can just skip along to the end because we don't want to make this too long of an analysis. But the ending, like the whole thing where Andy finds the napkin that her sister Helen wrote, and that was supposed to be the glass onion. It was supposed to be this whole damn thing that what they fought the court case over, and it was supposed to be why Miles
It was
killed
like
Helen,
why the company was started and how they made billions or how he's a millionaire or
and
something
how he
now.
stole it all from her, and everything.
Yeah,
And I will give you, there is one thing also too. I laugh at it, but it's so bad. It's supposed to be when they're all in their 30s, the flashback, and you see Edward
yeah.
Norton with this flat, kind of like average long length of hair, and you see Dave Bautista, which obviously looks like a wig, and it's all like, oh my god, this is so like Kate Hudson didn't change. Like
Yeah,
I think they only put maybe a little bit more makeup on her. Other than that, she didn't change all too much. Um,
yeah.
Monet looks great and everything. Probably the one person in there that actually does look great, and she could pull off looking both young and old. She can just pull that off easily with very little. But just watching that, I was like, oh my god, it's like this. This definitely does feel like a quarantine film. It feels like very low budgeted, but they threw all their probably budget into the actual formation of like some of the sets for the Glass Onion, because like some of the
Yeah.
stuff you can use that as like modeling, but in some of that is like, oh, that's studio made. That is studio made. Um, but
Like I don't know, Ryan Johnson like sold the sequel right to Netflix and was just like, okay, I'm just gonna write him a sequel. I'm not really gonna think too much about this one. And you know, I feel like looking back, you can tell that I don't think he went through many drafts for this.
Netflix was probably like in a real bind of, we need to sit there and get as much content as we can, hurry, because we're running out of it. Because this was what, I think the final year of the lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
because
What would
I think we opened up
uh
towards the end of 2022.
yeah,
So probably by
about
filming, it
that.
was like the last year of the lockdown. So you had like all those little restrictions that they had to follow. And chances are Ryan probably had some really, really great ideas, but they probably could not risk doing it for the sake of COVID, catching it
Yeah.
or spreading it. So he probably, like, who knows? Probably I've not read the script to it. I don't know if the Glass Onion script is uploaded to Script Labs, which is where we get all of our scripts to read about the podcast, folks, like you guys.
There are
We're
two
not
drafts
sponsored.
on Scriptbacks.
Oh, really?
There's an early draft which is longer, and there's the more recent draft which is 135. The early draft is 147 pages.
You know what? You can read the 147 one and tell me what you think then. Because
Oh,
I'm tired of giving myself scripts and then they're super fucking long as hell, and it's all like, oh, fuck this shit. It's all like,
why are movies so long?
give me a 100 to 120 page script. because the Billy Wilder ones I've been reading that are like 180, they move at least pretty fast. Like they're fast reads, but there's some of them it's like you just get lost in the description and it's like, oh, now I know what my screenwriting professor is trying to tell me all about. It's like you can get lost in those damn things pretty easy. But yeah, we're not sponsored by Script Labs, but you know what? Maybe one day we will be, because we use that site a lot to read the screenplays. Obviously, we didn't do it for this one. It's Encore. You know, we're a little bit more relaxed, but
yeah. What do you think of the mid like point twist where it's revealed that Benoit Blanc and Andy is her name?
Yes,
Right?
Andy. Helen's the one that passed away. Helen was the one that was murdered.
Yeah, Andy is working together, and you go back and they re-show you shots that they've already shown you, but Andy is
A different
in
perspective.
the shots with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what'd you think of that? Like, do you feel like you got like cheated of the mystery-ish? I don't know.
No, not really. I really do know that most of those scenes, they're not really the mid-credit, or not mid-credit, the midpoint twist. It's usually towards the end, like after the all hope is gone kind of moment. It's usually generally right around there, but I thought like, okay, well, if they did this here in the mid, for one, I thought, oh wow, this movie's not going to last that long for this twist, but they were still able to. But the thing that I did not enjoy was the quote unquote supposed killing of her when Andy died and it is revealed that she did not die, and like I was like, oh god,
this got the sauce in her pocket or something.
Yeah, but like to me, the way that I looked at it, it was like,
that felt so cartoonish to me.
Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of people that have fooled other people with that, so I'm not gonna. It's like I'm pretty sure there's some people that'll believe it, but it's not that. It's more of, it kind of gives you more of a, the feeling if you read a really, really good comic book and your favorite character dies, but it's the comic world and no one stays dead forever. That's, to me, it's like, okay, you already revealed that's a twin, and now the twin died. Oh, but she did not die. It felt like there was way too much comic book writing, I guess. Maybe, I don't know what's the proper way to really say that, but it kind of felt like, that's too much. That's too much. It's like, someone has to fucking die. And it's sad that it was my boy Dave Bautista. That fucking, he's the only one that bit the bullet in this. I think like in Knives Out, really, like, what, only 2 people died? It was the maid and it was...
the main character and the
yeah.
housekeeper or something.
Yeah. That was it. This one, only 1 body count. And it was like, oh, you could have upped the body count, but not make it seem like it's a fucking... slasher film. You could have really maybe pushed this comedy to be a little bit more darker, and and had it where, well, maybe Catherine Hahn's political character, maybe she finally gets tired of it and she's all like, I'm not gonna cover your ass anymore, Miles, and Miles has her killed. I liked a lot of when they started revealing like the cross thing, like, oh, when Batista died, because he's allergic to pineapple juice, and like he's just choking, and and then of course you get that wonderful meme from LeBlanc. No, it's just dumb. Kid has, it's so dumb, it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb, and it's like, yeah, no, I fucking feel that completely. Yeah, it's very dumb. Yeah. It's dumb luck. It's a lot of, pretty much, I guess what you could sit there saying this. It's a lot of dumb luck. Miles is not a smart man. He just is crafty, or not crafty. He's just a little bit more slicker.
He's a snake.
Yeah, he's able to trick some people, but obviously he was not able to trick everyone. And then going back towards the end, when he sets on fire the napkin, and essentially now the rest of the film is just over.
The napkin she could have easily just pulled away from.
Yeah, well, also too, why are you just pointing? Why are you just pointing it out there? Because even if he did set it on fire, he could have just took it and tore it in half, and bam, it didn't exist. That was just not smart.
There's just a lot of things that don't feel like a real person would do. Like that. So just some moments where you're like,
you talking about common sense, because that's very rare today, Chris. You know that's on the endangered species list.
Well, Yeah, it can be. It's just with movies like this, like there there just wasn't a sense of danger when
Yeah.
watching it, and like that's something that I feel like was definitely missing from this movie. Like there's just no sense of danger. Benoit Blanc isn't in danger, and like he's there trapped with a bunch of supposed murder suspects, but I didn't feel like any of them really did anything.
Yeah.
I, you knew Edward Norton was the one who did it, so it's just like,
It was more of just like it's a bunch of red tape because of this one little, new fuel thing or whatever it is. It just seemed like a bunch of red
yeah,
tape that everyone else's careers were just going to plummet just because they were all tied to Miles and that Miles just had connections. Not a smart man,
yeah,
but the man had enough connections right there that it's like, well, you know what? I can ruin your whole political campaign. I can ruin your boner pill shit, for Dave Batista. He could easily have just taken away Lionel's job, which I do believe. I think he worked in R&D. Um,
yeah. He was
yeah,
like some sort of engineer or something.
yeah,
There was that vindication like towards the end when everyone turns on Miles, and like,
but it was
okay,
so
we saw
like,
you do the murder.
yeah, but like at the same time too, it's after like when they all have that cathartic thing where they're just breaking everything in Miles. This thing in Miles is like, oh, haha, okay, ha, yeah,
Yeah.
that's real mature guys, and then it got to the point where we remember, oh, hey, that's that fuel thing that if you throw it and it hits something, it's going to cause a spark. And then, Janae Monet throws it, and then shit starts blowing up, um, and then of course, then Edward Norton has his fit finally when everyone's just sitting out there, you know, waiting for the boat to come eventually and everything when the tide isn't so low, and he's all like, "Oh, are you fucking happy? Because like, I'm about to take your ass to court." Da da da. Da. And it's like, why? It's like you wanted your name to be in the same breath as the Mona Lisa. I was like, essentially, it burned in your house by your
Yeah.
own fucking creation of energy and everything. You burned down the Mona Lisa, so you'll be known as the idiot that sat there and created the resource that burned it down. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, everyone's like, yeah, you know what? I think I saw Miles burn that napkin, and oh yeah, I think I saw Miles murder that dude. I was like, what's the point? You left Batista's body in that house. It's burnt. It's gone. You
Oh
have to have
yeah.
some really really good forensic shit to fucking prove that this man was poisoned and not have that fire hopefully burn up all those chemicals. I'm not a forensic
Yeah.
scientist, so I have no clue if someone was poisoned and then you burn the body, if that would really just burn up all the poison out of the system, or will that still leave traces within the deep muscle and,
There,
well, probably
I
not
feel
tissue
like
because that's going to be burned too.
I feel like a better ending would have been like Miles is like tr- saying I can do whatever I want because I'm a rich billionaire, and like tries to kill Andy and ends up killing himself or something like that. That would have been
Like a
like
Halloween Ends thing
sweet.
where Michael kicked that door and shot that woman in the head. Oh no,
Oh
that
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
Halloween. Yeah, Halloween Kills, not
That
Halloween
was,
Ends.
yeah, Husband Kills, but like, yeah, just something where like, because you're still not sure if Miles is gonna like get put away. Like the movie says it, but like, I don't know. I feel like it just wasn't really set up
Yeah,
well. But
it felt very much like, well, we have to punish Miles for something,
yeah,
and I
he's
kind of feel
definitely
like
going
this.
down for that Mona
Yeah.
Lisa.
Oh yeah. Like people are gonna be like, dude, you fucking let the Mona Lisa burn. Like, what's wrong with you? You know.
Yeah,
But yeah, like there. When I first saw this movie, I didn't think this movie was all that great. But upon rewatching it, I did really enjoy the setups. I thought Ryan Johnson did some of the most perfect setups. And especially like when you have certain scenes and then later on you see the other perspective of, oh, what did he see? Oh, well, Dave Bautista sat there and saw, you know, what's her name? His girlfriend Whiskey fucking getting plowed by Miles. Yeah, that would
which
probably
he
piss me off.
insisted.
Yeah, he insisted because it
He
was supposed
pushed
to
her
help
to
him
do it.
for like their deal, but still he was pissed and
Yeah,
everything. And then you have the whole thing where it's all like he's like when Dave Bautista's faking about like those little view counts and it's showing about Helen Brand's death and everything, and then like, oh, they're trying to play off of it, but still he allowed Batista to die and
yeah,
everything. And uh believe it or not, those people that were there really aren't even like connected too much to that murder. Those were all just fucking friends just put at the wrong place at the wrong time. So it kind of already negates their involvement in Helen's death because they were the ones that were there trying to get to her. You know, oh hey, what was with
Well,
this damn letter? And then Miles
I don't
just
think
beat them all to it. Because Catherine
I don't think
Hahn
she
and
was
Dave
ever
Bautista, they went
like
to hurry to the house, and then
they. I don't think they were ever going to be implicated in the murder. The reason Norton killed Batista is because Batista saw Norton leaving her house
yeah,
after she like
he's the
sent
only
the letter
witness. Yeah.
to make that can place Miles at the scene of the crime.
So also too,
And
then it just defeats the purpose of why did you even bring these other people here? Why didn't you just invite Dave Batista and then hey, yeah, we're gonna have a weekend of debauchery, and then killed him off there? Again, a lot of these just don't make
I don't think
sense.
I don't think Miles knew that Dave Batista saw him until the party, right? Like that's when he brought it up. Think
Maybe
didn't he?
then that could have been. So chances are he was just probably using it to sit there and figure out then, all right, who knew, who could possibly have known, and who could possibly testify and make me look bad, you know?
Yeah, I think Dave Batista's kill or murder was improvised because he knew like Batista was gonna lean on him with that information. Like, I saw you leaving. I know she's dead, and like I can place you there.
Yeah,
So he's gonna get his way now, and Miles, because Norton's character wasn't gonna have it. So yeah, I don't think Miles thought it through right completely because he's an idiot. But
yeah.
yeah,
While the script, not the script, while the film had some really good setup scenes for what played out, um, I don't really sit there. Again, I feel like this was rushed. Like what you mentioned earlier, that Ryan's like, I'll just write this, get Netflix off my fucking back, so then I can go do Peacock's Poker Face and go work
yeah.
on there. So, in all honesty, his future of murder mysteries, I think, holds completely within Poker Face. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out and see, hey, did he get better at his writing? And you know, because like cinematography, directing, the man's amazing with it. You know, he has a really good team that can get those shots in, and
Yeah.
amazing editor, all that other stuff. But it still boils down to the writing, and the writing isn't always strong and clear. You know, but also too, no matter what, we're still measuring this film against Knives Out, which is a very great murder mystery. It's probably one of the best of the 21st century. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably one of the
it's
best
an
ones.
enjoyable film.
It is. And even then, like, its main character, you know, was far more lovable. You feel like a little bit more emotionally disconnected from Jenna Monet's character, and that's just mostly because we don't really get to know Helen until like way later in the film, and so
Yeah,
by then we get to know, okay, this is her stake in the game. Whereas in the first one, we already knew the stake in the game when it came to the main character in Knives Out, where, you know, oh, if she gets caught here, not only will she go to jail, but her family will be deported because not all of them are here legally. So obviously, this is a reason why she must quickly absolve her name from this and to
she's
keep any form of
she's an innocent
immigration.
character who can easily get pinned for the murder, and
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't have that. But like,
Well, I
yeah,
kind of felt like doing that again for like another movie. That would be like, oh, well, like, yeah, that's not the original. So I kind of understood the leap of faith that
that's
he made, but it's still we didn't connect with this character. Like we're all gonna connect to Blanc. Blanc is supposed to be the audience. That is the personification of the audience in that movie because he's gonna be there to solve the murder. But really, when you
why
look at the first film, Blanc didn't know shit. He was
yeah.
still
I
solving
mean,
the he was still solving it, but us, the audience, was the girl. I think Isabella or something like that. I think that's what her name was. We were her. We were solving this mystery through her eyes, not Blanc. Blanc was just there to help connect the dots of, hey, what did our wandering eye miss in this shot? You know,
yeah,
or just by the form of what did our main character miss that she's trying to figure it out, and Blanc's all like, oh, well, like, you know, if you didn't look at it from this direction, then you could see that A and B equals C, you know, whatever. Like, you don't have that in this movie. And
going forward, he definitely needs to like take out the innocent person who's trying to bring him into the mystery, put him in the mystery, and like everyone's a variable, everyone's a possible suspect.
mm-hmm.
Like, just throw him in there, and see what he actually does. Like, because for even with the last two movies, I feel like he hasn't really got to shine as a detective. Like, I still don't
Yeah.
know like what his like techniques are. Like, I don't know how he observes things. Like watching shows like Monk and Psych, like Mr.
Yeah.
Monk, he goes into a room and he's doing this, and Psych, you do the zoom in on and highlight little aspects of a room or a crime scene or something, and, like you
Uh,
see like how this detective is like working.
Dr. House and
So
House, even though it's a medical drama, you still know how does he solve what the issue is. He may be wrong,
yeah,
but he's always closer towards the next step in the puzzle.
there's
He's
a
constantly solving
process
it,
of
but we're
elimination.
also yes, and we're learning their styles. Like you mentioned with Monk and then the guy from Psych, you know, Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot, they all have their styles in which how do they figure it out. Even going all the way back to the very first guy that pretty much started all this was Edgar Allan Poe's character of C. Augustus Dupin. You know, he had a very, you know, it's he even sat there and said, "Oh, it's deductive, you know, reasoning and all this other stuff. It's figuring out how the hell, you know, he fixed it. It's like, oh, it's all simple, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, I kind of feel like Ryan just needs to kind of go back to the blackboard and just kind of tweak a little bit more about how to use Blanc and everything. Really that's all they really. It's just one little extra tweak, and hopefully with this movie, maybe he's already saw that. It's like, oh, okay, well, I kind of sit there and see
Yeah.
what we did here. We need to,
'Cause
which to me, maybe in the next film, if we ever get one, I would love to see Hugh Grant play the Watson role, and that they solve it. I
that'd be
love
fun.
to see
That
that.
could be fun.
Like you don't have to force their whole relationship angle thing or anything, but you can sit there and you can tell one of, hey, I want to help solve this mystery too. You know, it's
Yeah.
all like someone has died. It's like this is wrong. We need to solve it. You know, bada bing,
Yeah.
bada boom. There you go. It's right there. You know, I just
Definitely
wrote Knives Out 3
something new.
or, or the next Knives Out story. LeBlanc and his
Put it on the
partner.
board. Get it
Mm-hmm.
on the walls. Run
Right?
it out. Outline it. But yeah, no, that's definitely just the something that we need to see in the third one is more who Blanc is as a character and what his detective skills are.
Because when did
Because
Knives
I
Out come out? Was that 2018 or 2016?
think it was 2018.
Was it 2018?
Yeah.
And then this one came out in 2022. So about 4 years. So yeah, maybe he just needs another 4 years to stew on it. Maybe by
2019.
2019. Okay, so 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so then 2025. That's still not that far along ago to just stew on another story and figure out, you know, how are we gonna do the next Blanc mystery. You know, I definitely want to see more from him, and hopefully when I watch Poker Face, I will see the improvements. Hopefully I'll see the improvements. It's television, so I always really enjoy television a little bit more sometimes when it comes to storytelling because you just get to know the characters a lot faster and better.
Yeah.
And so that is one thing we do have to take into account is we only have so much time with these characters in a film compared to a TV show. But with that, Chris, we're gearing up here almost at 50 minutes. I think it's time that we wrapped it up. I think we did a really good job at burning Ryan Johnson once more, even though I did my best not to.
Yeah. I mean, I
Again,
wanted to
he
try to
swung
do
and
constructive criticism, you know?
yeah. Like we're not shitting on him just for the fact of he made a bad Star Wars movie. No, that's not what we're doing. But
He has
yeah,
good ideas. He just needs
yes,
to like focus them
he
better.
either just needs an extra writer, like an extra brain on it, or yeah, he just needs a little bit longer time to work on what needs to be worked on. But with that said, Chris, when can the people find you?
The Zealous Slacker on Instagram and YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And folks, you can find me as a Gothic Storyteller on Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Tinder. I mean, nothing. I'm fucking with you. But yeah, you guys can all sit there and find me on there and everything. The socials are always down at the bottom. And with that being said, folks, Chris, we have wrapped up our murder mystery month of November. Are we ready for Christmas? It's another hell of a holiday and everything, but you know what? We got some interesting interesting films to show. If it, you know what? I think we do want to tell them. What are we covering for this Christmas? If he even remembers.
It's been a minute, but I remember a Cape Crusader at one point, right? Or no, that's
Next season. That's next season. Don't
Oh.
don't screw that pooch right there.
Oh shit.
We're going to be doing It's a Wonderful Life. That's what we're going to open up the month. So hopefully
Right.
you should know what follows after It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Because it's connected.
The same town thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
This is our murder mystery right here for you.
Yeah.
What is it?
Or Gremlins. We're talking about Gremlins.
There we go.
Yeah.
You'll also get one more encore episode in between those episodes for you guys folks and everything. So Christmas is going to be a little packed there at the beginning and everything. And we're definitely going to enjoy the Christmas break that follows afterwards. And then the January break. But you know what? Like, we'll talk about that once next month's come around. Chris, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye-bye.